Meek Mill came out saying that he'll pay somebody $100 grand to investigate that he has nothing to do with anything with Diddy.
You can't take back what your butt see.
All catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. All lies will be exposed. So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing,
you will tell it.
I know so many things I shouldn't know. When I walk in a room, heads go down.
You gave me the ooshkash goosmash. You gave me the ooshkash muaf. The smooshmash. Diddy. Yeah, son. You know what I mean?
For the gay rap.
Yeah, man. And gay, not being just full out gay, but hiding and trying to pretend like he, you know, loves girls and live the rap lifestyle, but really he's a man fan. It's real scary, you know what I'm saying? So we got to get into the seriousness of it, and it's just not fair to, you know, other people. And then that shit spreads because that girl that you might be fooling might leave you and go find another dude who ain't gay, give him the disease, and he go cheat.
Not like women. They use women for material gain and possession.
Since he was little, just like Weezy.
Yeah.
And he's been ran through quite a bit. Caught him naked. Whoever his big daddy was threw him ass naked into the hallway. He was walking around in the hallway. Has actually appeared on a magazine cover together.
Damn. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Able to call other on being a swish. Birds of a feather flock together.
You smashed him when it was girls?
I didn't smash anything.
So how you know
we
that?
made love. We made love.
Who you made love with?
Diddy, Bow Wow, Busta Rhymes.
You just told me you seen Busta in the airport too. That motherfucker tried to act like he didn't know you. You smashed Drake?
No, I never smashed.
Oh, you made love to Drake.
And Cat Williams. What's his name?
Bro, you smashing a lot of people.
What's that nigga name? Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard. Usher. Usher's a gusher. And
why you not naming no?
I'm telling you, bro. It's my dad's friends. My dad sick his baddest friends on me.
Who's your dad?
Lucifer.
Goosmash. You gave me the ooshkash muaf. The smooshmash. Diddy. Yeah, son. You know what I mean? You gave me the ooshkash muash. I love it, yo. I love it. You gave me the ooshkash muash.
And
that ooshkash muash. You know what I'm talking about, Diddy?
Say, man, you know, we gotta bring some we gotta bring some what they call them, I'm not gonna say it on here. They call them fun boys. They'll say we gotta have some fun boys in the for Busta. Cause you know, I bodyguarded for Ghostface before. You feel me? And being around him, you hear things. You feel me? I'm like, damn. And my auntie like the biggest Busta Rhymes fan. You feel me? Like every cookout she playing it. All his little fast rapping, all of that. Him and Craig Mack playing that. Bro, on my soul, I'm out with a group of people. At this time, I was with Don Benjamin. You familiar with him?
No, I never heard of him.
Model dude, like a model guy. He be doing like some rapping and stuff. His name Don Benjamin. I'm out with Don Benjamin, and the club we ended up going to, Busta Rhymes in there. So it was a little lawyer guy that was with us. And the little lawyer guy we was with, you know, he was a gay dude, super cool, feel me, good guy. Bro, Busta Rhymes wanted him in his shit so bad. Like, what? Pulled him to the like through the rope and tucked him off in the corner. So I'm looking like, well, he ain't come with us. Well, I know he was in the little group. So if I go out with somebody, like a group of people, I try to make sure everybody get there together and leave together. No, he stayed with them. He stayed in there with them, bro. For sure, bro.
And across the street, and Busta Rhymes just grabbed my hand. And he holding my hand. Now, I ain't know it was Busta at first. You know, Busta Rhymes tall. I'm sure I came up to about right here. So the first thing I noticed was this big flip mode chain that was blinding me. So I look at the chain and I'm like, and I look up, I'm like, oh, what's up, Busta? What's up? Now he holding my hand the whole time. I'm like, what's up, man? He like, what you doing? And I was like, oh, me and my people, we about to go to this club around the corner. What's up, man? You know, and then I noticed throughout my peripheral vision, the side eye, this big bodyguard in black. Just standing there, you know, looking around, you know, looked at me, you know, still looking around. Meanwhile, Busta still got my hand in his hand. And he says, you know, I'm about to go in this club. You know, we got a section. You know, you can come in with me if you want. And I'm like, word, for real? Like, that's what's up. Like, he was like, yeah. I was like, well, I gotta, you know, tell my people. I was like, I come in. You know what I'm saying? He was like, okay, just let me know, you know, tell them that you coming in there to meet with me and come on up. And I was like,
the Money Mike in the original script got raped in the bathroom, and that's what Ricky Smiley was okay with. Katt Williams had to take the risk in front of the studios and the cast and our powers that be in his very first movie and say respectfully, humbly, guys, if we talking about anything else, I have no credibility and I have no pull. But we're talking about comedy, right, where I have all the credibility and all the pull. The problem with Friday After Next is we're trying to make a classic comedy. And this comedy involves a and is never funny, no matter who it happens to or what the circumstances are. If you would allow me to allow us to do this movie without a black man getting raped in it, I promise you that it will be twice as funny as it would be with him getting raped. So considering that's the real story, why would you bring up that story? 35 members of the cast and crew have never brought up that Ricky Smiley was gonna play Money Mike. No one ever saw me put on a Santa Claus suit. We got a wardrobe department. They made a Santa Claus suit for me. Why that wasn't in the blue?
Yes, man, I sold my Lamborghini, I sold my Rolls Royce, I sold my Cadillacs. Yes, sirski. I ain't gonna lie. This thing humble yourself. I ain't gonna cap to you. I got a floss for you niggas, bro. Nigga already got it. I ain't got a floss for you niggas, man. If a nigga, y'all gonna think what y'all wanna think. If I do got it, don't got it. Y'all gonna think what y'all wanna think. I love this hunter. Shit, I ain't riding again. I got a floss for you niggas. That's what's wrong with you niggas. Y'all feel like y'all got a floss for the Instagram, man. Y'all don't need a floss for no dumb man Instagram. They gonna think what the fuck they wanna think. Lie. I had to sit back, I had to relax and look at the world like, Osiris, you forgot where the f came from. But nigga, Rolls Royce. Remember where you came from, nigga. Don't get lost in the sauce. Get this motherfucking music, drop this music, and get this fucking money that. And don't worry about it.
It all kicked off with a move that was supposed to silence everything, but instead, it made the noise impossible to ignore. Meek Mill stepped into the spotlight and publicly offered $100,000 to anyone who could prove he was involved in the swirling controversy tied to Diddy. On the surface, it sounded bold, even confident, but the internet didn't read it that way. To a lot of people, it felt less like a denial and more like a pressure point, like someone trying to get ahead of something before it spirals. Because in today's climate, throwing money at a rumor doesn't kill it, it amplifies it. And almost instantly, people began asking the question, why now? Why that strong of a reaction unless there's something bigger bubbling underneath? What was supposed to be a shutdown turned into an ignition, and suddenly, it felt like this wasn't just about one artist defending his name, but the beginning of something much deeper cracking open. Because here's the thing, this conversation didn't just appear overnight. For years, there have been whispers, side comments, interviews that felt a little too revealing, and moments that people brushed off as just industry talk. But now, those same voices are getting louder, more direct, and harder to dismiss. What used to live in rumor threads and late-night discussions is now being said out loud on major platforms, with millions watching. And it's not just one person speaking, it's multiple figures from different corners of entertainment, all circling around similar themes. That's when it stops feeling random and starts feeling like a pattern. The industry isn't just being questioned anymore, it's being dissected in real time, and the more people look, the more they think they're seeing something that's been hidden in plain sight. And then come the voices you can't ignore, the whistleblowers. Not the polished PR types, but the ones who've built reputations on being unpredictable, unfiltered, and sometimes even labeled as too much. Comedians, former insiders, artists who've had complicated relationships with the industry, they're the ones stepping forward and saying what others won't. People like this have always walked a fine line between truth and controversy, but what's making this moment different is the consistency. The stories might sound wild at first, but when you start hearing similar claims from completely different sources, it stops sounding like coincidence. And they're not just speaking in vague terms either. They're naming names, recalling specific situations, and painting pictures that are messy, uncomfortable, and impossible to neatly explain away. When you step back and really look at it, a pattern starts to form, and that's where things get even more unsettling. On one side, you have carefully crafted public images, hyper-masculine personas, aggressive branding, lyrics that push a certain narrative. On the other side, you have persistent rumors that directly contradict that image. And it's not just one-off claims, it's the repetition that catches people's attention. Different voices, different timelines, but eerily similar suggestions. That tension between what's presented publicly and what's being alleged privately is what's fueling the conversation. It's less about any single claim being proven and more about the growing perception that something doesn't add up. And in an industry built on image, even the suggestion of hypocrisy can hit just as hard as confirmation. Then the names start coming in, and this is where the conversation shifts from speculation to full-blown shock value. One name leads to another, and just when you think it can't get more unexpected, another figure gets pulled into the discussion. Some are people you'd never expect to be part of this kind of narrative, which only makes the reaction stronger. The escalation is what keeps people locked in, because every new mention raises the stakes. And just when the audience starts to settle, thinking they've heard it all, another claim surfaces, another connection is made, and the story expands again. But through all of it, there's one name that keeps resurfacing, tying everything together like a thread running through multiple stories, and that's Diddy. Whether it's past associations, business dealings, mentorship programs, or behind-the-scenes influence, his presence seems to show up again and again in these conversations. It doesn't matter which direction the story goes. Somehow it loops back. And that's what's making people pause. Because when multiple narratives, from different people and different moments, all point toward the same central figure, it starts to feel less like scattered rumors and more like a network of interconnected stories. Whether any of it is true, exaggerated, or misunderstood is still up for debate, but the sheer volume of connections being drawn is what's keeping the spotlight exactly where it is. And if this really is just the beginning, then what comes next might be even harder to ignore. But here's where the conversation takes a turn, and it's no longer just about who said what or which name got dragged into the headlines. Because once you peel back the surface, a much heavier question starts to emerge. What really goes on behind the curtain of the music industry? For years, artists have hinted at an unspoken system, one where success isn't just about talent or hard work, but about navigating power structures that most fans never see. Stories about pressure, control, and playing the game have been whispered for decades, but now those whispers are getting louder. Some insiders describe an environment where careers can be made or broken based on who you align with, what you agree to, and how far you're willing to go to stay in the room. And suddenly, the conversation shifts from gossip to something more uncomfortable, because if even a fraction of that is true, then the industry isn't just about entertainment, it's about influence, leverage, and decisions that happen far away from the spotlight. At the same time, There's this constant push and pull between what people are calling receipts and what others dismiss as rumors. That tension is what keeps this entire story alive. On one side, you've got clips, interviews, old statements being resurfaced, and moments that fans are now reanalyzing with a completely different lens. On the other, you've got denials, skepticism, and the very real possibility that some of these claims are exaggerated or taken out of context. And that's the tricky part, because not everything being said can be verified, but it also can't be ignored when the same themes keep popping up over and over again. It's the repetition that sticks with people. The way certain stories refuse to disappear, no matter how many times they're brushed off. And in a world where perception can be just as powerful as proof, that gray area between truth and speculation becomes the perfect breeding ground for curiosity and doubt. And the public? They're watching all of this unfold in real time, trying to make sense of it. Some fans are brushing it off completely, calling it another wave of internet chaos. Others are going back through years of music, interviews, and public appearances, questioning things they never thought twice about before. There's confusion, disbelief, even a little bit of discomfort, because when the people you've supported for years suddenly become part of a narrative like this, it forces you to look at everything differently. For some, it's just entertainment. For others, it's starting to feel like a deeper cultural moment, one that challenges not just the artists, but the industry that shaped them and the audience that consumed it without question. Conversations are shifting from "did this happen?" to "why do these stories keep happening?" And that's a much harder question to answer. Which brings everything right back to where it started, with Meek Mill and that $100,000 challenge. Because now, in the context of everything else being said, his response doesn't feel like an isolated moment anymore. It feels like part of a larger pattern. Artists stepping forward, denying, deflecting, or trying to regain control of their narrative before it slips too far out of their hands. Was it confidence? A calculated move to shut things down quickly? Or was it something else entirely? A reaction to pressure, to speculation, to knowing that once your name gets pulled into a story like this, it doesn't leave easily? That's the question people can't seem to shake. Because in a situation where so many voices are speaking at once, silence can look suspicious, but so can saying too much. And maybe that's where this story really lives, in the uncertainty. Because for every claim, there's a counterclaim. For every receipt, there's a reason to doubt it. But the conversation isn't slowing down, it's expanding. More people are paying attention, more connections are being made, and more questions are being asked. So, what happens if more voices come forward? What if someone finally provides something that can't be explained away? Or what if this all fades out, leaving nothing but speculation and a long list of unanswered questions? Either way, one thing is clear. Something has shifted. And whether this is the beginning of real exposure, or just another cycle of rumors that refuses to die, depends on what comes next. So now the question is, who's going to speak up next, and what are they going to reveal when they do?